Hi, everybody. I'm Toby.
And I'm Tammy.
And this is Totally on Brand. Did you see the fire picture I dropped last night?
Toby. When I
Did
saw
you
that
see
picture,
it?
no, when I saw that picture,
Did you see it?
when I saw that, they now had Baby come in and give you a little smooch. I said, okay,
Clark
no
it.
problem. No
In
problem.
my mind, I'm really a Gen Z. But anyway, the reason I brought that up is, as you can see, one of the things I'm trying to do better in life is my content life. It is so tough. So I'm smiling because, like, if you are going to watch this and start laughing at me, because for a long time, people would say, Toby, do content, do content. I'm like, nope, not me. I'm not interested. Don't ever call me an influencer. Leave me alone. And then 2025 came. No, I would say 2024. Stayed thinking, I can do this in a different way. I can find my own lane. And one of the things that I started thinking was, okay, because I'm a business person, it cannot just be taking pictures and posting for me. I started to understand, okay, this content thing everyone is doing, how does it work? What is IP? What are you supposed to get paid for? What do you do? How does it work? Yeah, and that's where my journey with content started. And that's why this
Honestly?
topic came about, because we're like, we need to learn how are we going to become content girls that are making
I
money.
don't know who you mean by girls, because I'm still like way behind you. Like I shy away from content. I don't. Every
I
time I
think you're
watch
doing
you,
better.
I
I think
might.
this
I
year,
had like
no,
an
but this year you've
uptake, and
been,
then I disappeared again.
yes, but the uptake, when you start it, you run away and then you come
I
back
really did
again.
run away. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my god, I'm everywhere.
This journey took me 4 years.
Okay, that makes me feel
Everything
better.
I've been doing on my stories was to come to this year, like teach myself. Because everything with content, a lot of us are just shy. We think everyone is looking at us and laughing. We're a bit embarrassed.
Yeah,
We feel
very.
a bit ashamed,
I'm
or
like,
we think
what?
that who are we to do that?
Yeah.
So I spent the last 4 years just teaching myself that.
No, but I mean, and the
Yeah.
funny thing is, I learn from you. Every time you do something, I'm like, okay, fine. I can do this.
Yes.
I can get better.
Yes.
I can, and it's funny because our guest today is also somebody who has also started doing a little bit more content. And I'm like, I've been watching her,
Have you
and I'm like, I'm
noticed?
so happy and I'm so proud. And I'm
Do
like,
you know
oh
why
my
it's
God.
funny? Especially because she's someone who always had style,
Yes.
but was always in what I consider a very serious profession.
Very.
So I felt like maybe deep down she always had a knack for it.
I
but
think
maybe her
so.
profession always made her think, And now she went the other way
And you
and
know
said,
what?
I'll
There's
help
like,
you guys.
But there's also like a marriage. I don't know how to explain it. Like whenever she's sitting on a panel or she's talking, it's like I'm a serious person, but I look good. So I love that, and it's making me
What
feel like
also
I can.
interests me, interestingly enough, when we think about it, what she has also done is probably taken something she genuinely has a love for, and probably thinks, I don't need to do this. I'm going to go and help people who need to do it. Okay, on that note, we're going to introduce you to our guest for today. She's an experienced legal practitioner and in intellectual property, media, sports and entertainment law. When I actually saw this topic, or when Timmy and I ideated this topic, because it stemmed from our journey of our own personal content. When we started the pod, it was always how we're going to shoot content. We were both very uncomfortable in the beginning. So when we ideated this topic, literally her name came to mind because, like we said, she's someone who I always felt understood content, but is also a lawyer and understands intellectual property. So, without further ado,
Wait, before you
maybe
get
no.
there.
Okay, fine.
Let me also
Is it
add.
because she's your friend? What's
She's not my friend. She's my sister. Do you understand? Like I've known her for decades, and I just want to add that she has been exceptional at everything that she has done since childhood. Do you understand? Like I always knew that this was where she was gonna go.
That's actually interesting.
Yes.
Tell me a bit more about her.
No,
like a little bit.
She's very particular, very specific, very intentional. Everything she does is it yields. Do you understand?
That.
And she's been like that since childhood. I don't know. I think it's her upbringing as well. Her mom is like, ooh,
Really?
It's been like that her whole life. So to see where she is now and to have her on the podcast is truly an honor. And I think that everybody watching today and listening today is going to learn so much from this phenomenal person that we both love and we both admire her style, guys.
As you actually said that, I realized that one of the exciting things for me with Totally on Brand is to bring people that don't necessarily speak as loudly, but they are powerhouses and people we all should start listening to because they're the forefront of industries and we need to start hearing what they say. And because we grew up with a lot of these people, it can be difficult to kind of switch up and go from being friends to being professionals who exchange
Yeah.
information. And I
Yeah.
really love that we have the platform to do that with
I'm
people we
so
know.
proud. Yeah.
So, without further ado, are you stopping me again?
No, carry on.
Okay, fine. We want to introduce you to Kike Ojewale, but we'll let her do her own introduction. Hi, Kike.
Hi guys. Oh
Hi,
God.
boo. Hi,
Oh my
darling. How are
goodness.
you?
I'm well, thank
Welcome
you
to
very
Totally on
We're
much.
so
Brand.
Thank you
happy
for
to have
having
you
me.
here.
You guys made me
Um,
very shy, by the way.
oh, no. It's very important, all of us that actually standing on who we are and what we
Absolutely.
do. I don't think
Absolutely.
excellence should be caged
At
anymore.
all.
The country is too mediocre.
Right.
We need to literally raise the game
Right.
ourselves.
Right.
Okay, so will you tell the audience who you are,
Okay.
what you do, and yeah, like, who is Kike Ojewale?
Okay. So my name is Kike Ojewale. I am a fashion loving legal practitioner. I specialize in intellectual property, media, sports, and entertainment. But I like to consider myself a lawyer for the creatives, I'll say. So anything that is creative, anything that's a product of your mind, I want to help you sort of figure that out, how you can make money from it, how you can protect it. Um, and obviously that means like I have a wide range of clients. I have influencers as clients, I have artists, and artists I mean both musical and visual, graphics, basically anything that's creative really, or anything that even has to do with protecting something that is a product of your mind. I feel like
Wow.
I always want to be a part of those sort of stories. So yeah, that's
Do you
pretty
know what's
much it.
so interesting? Thank you so much for that. The word product of your mind really stuck out to me
Yeah.
because how does one even quantify that? So, for a long time growing up, we hear the word IP,
Yeah.
and all of us throw it around so much. For me now, it's slightly become a bit jarring because I don't know if it's truly, no, I know it's something important. I just don't know the depth of the importance. Can we even start by defining what intellectual property means? Like, how do we get people to understand at a basic level what is this phrase and what does it mean in your day to day life?
Okay. So I would say that the term actually defines itself. It's the property of your mind. Anything that you come up with, anything that you create, anything that you invent, that's your intellectual property. Um, and it is very difficult, I would say, to quantify it. But I think that's where the law kind of comes in because you're able to sort of put a value on it. And I think what a lot of people forget is that IP is, we call it intangible property, but it's property all the same. So you can sell it, you can buy it, you can use it as security for loans, anything you can do with physical property, with a piece of land, you can do with IP. For
Really?
the most part, yes. For the most part. Um, that's a different topic, but we're still in an era and an industry where we haven't quite put a lot of value on what IP can do in terms of like security
Got
for
you.
things. But
But it
in
will come.
other jurisdictions, this is something that's done on a daily basis. But yeah, so that's pretty much what IP is.
So, in the beginning, you had talked about how you like to say you work with creative. Toby and I are actually really passionate about small businesses, and we encounter them so many times in the course of our careers. Like, 99% of my clients are small businesses. I work with small businesses at a federal government level. But one thing you realize that is consistent almost 100% is their lack of understanding of what intellectual property even is. And a lot of them do similar things, but there's always a niche or a USP. There's always something unique to their ability to bring something forth, whether it's a product or a service. But how do you, as an intellectual property professional, deal with that even lack of knowledge?
So I think, again, like you said, one of the biggest issues is the lack of knowledge. A lot of people don't even know that they have access to any kind of legal advice or even access to these sorts of resources. And I always say that I think the biggest indicator is if it's valuable to you, then it's probably valuable to someone else, which means you should protect it absolutely. If you feel like it can't be easily replicated as well, also another big indicator that you should try and protect it. And again, we can't, to be honest, I don't think we can underestimate this education factor. You also need to do the research and you need to ask questions. You know, you have people who say, oh, I didn't even know this was possible. I didn't know that I came up with this concept, but I don't know how to protect it. I came up with this, I don't know how to do it. Ask questions. You know, the internet now is so vast and it's
Yeah,
so
that's
wide.
true.
You can chat, you can put anything into Copilot, ChatGPT, whatever it is, and it'll give you at least some bullet points as to what you need to do. Another thing that I say whenever I have conversations with small business owners, there's always this question of, it sounds expensive, it sounds this, it sounds that. The truth is, if you're going to invest in your business anyway, this is probably the biggest thing you have to invest in,
Yeah.
your intellectual property, because it's such a crucial part of your business. It adds so much value to your business that if you don't start now, it's actually going to get more expensive
As
the
you
bigger
go.
you
As you
Yeah.
go
get.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
so whew, your question. You had said earlier that most people think that intellectual property shows up in certain industries more than others. Now, I want to ask, from your perspective, what industries would you say IP shows up the most? Because it's also important to understand that in some places is in a bigger magnitude than in other places. Because for me, I always thought movie, music, any industry that there's obvious talent, seems like that's where IP should be. But in hearing you, it seems like it cuts across so many
Yeah.
things. But what industries do you think it shows up the most, and what other industry do you think it still exists?
I don't think there's a specific answer to that question because I feel there's intellectual property in everything.
Fair?
So if we're looking at the corporates as opposed to the creative industries, for example, you know, even things like pharmaceuticals, in tech, in branding, that's all intellectual property. I approach a company to design a logo for me and register. I'm building my IP because once I have that logo that's been designed by a company, I want to register it at the trademarks registry because I don't want anyone else to copy my logo. I don't want anyone else to copy my brand name. I'm already building my IP portfolio. I might not necessarily be in a creative industry. I could be, I don't know, selling rice on Twitter or what or X is that's what it's called.
Yeah.
But you know, I could be
I still
doing.
call it Twitter.
I
People
still
kind
think
of
it's
Same.
give me a
Twitter, Sha,
headache.
but
Yeah.
you know, but I could be doing anything, and intellectual property is in everything. It's not just in the creative industry.
You just mentioned an intellectual property portfolio.
Yes.
What is that?
So and
I'm so intrigued by that.
I like to call it. I like to call the intellectual property portfolio. I like to call it like your file of things. It's your file of things. As a small business, you need to start building your portfolio from the jump. So I gave the example earlier about approaching a company to design a logo. You design your logo, you register your logo at the trademarks registry. You've automatically increased the value of your business, and
Absolutely.
I'll explain why. Once you do that, let's say you're a company that comes up with concepts, for example, for podcasts. The interesting thing about IP is that it doesn't protect an idea. It has to protect the expression of that idea. And it's very easy to do that. If you, for example, like I gave an example earlier about being a company that comes up with TV concepts, or you come up with a concept for podcasts and things like that, always write it down. Write it down, date it. There's actually an old saying, if you have an idea, email it, write it down, email it to yourself.
So that the
The
timestamp is there.
I
timestamp
do
is
that.
very important, especially
I
when it
put it in
comes to
notes and I
copyright. You
screenshot
put it
and
in
Yeah.
notes.
favorite it.
Once it's down, you
Yeah.
have a date, you have a time,
Yeah.
you're able to have a record of what
Yeah.
it is. Now, in Nigeria and generally most countries, you don't have to register your copyright. It's automatic. So anything you write down on paper
It's copyrighted.
is protected by copyright automatically. But when you're
Handwritten.
handwritten, typed, whatever it
Okay.
is, it's automatically covered. However, if you're looking to build a business like this example I've given, it's always worth taking the next step to actually go and register it. So they do give you the option at the Copyright Commission in Abuja to register your copyright, just if you want that extra layer. Now, if I do that, I write down my concept, I come up with a concept for Totally on Brand, I write it down, I go and register it at the Copyright Commission. Again, I've added to my portfolio. So as you keep doing all these
So you
things
have a
and building things and
portfolio.
coming up with concepts, you do that. The reason why I always encourage people to maintain a portfolio. We're in an era now where, people build businesses and they kind of get stuck. They think, okay, I've built this business to this level. I've made, by God's grace, $1 billion. What do I do now? Some people want to sell off the business. They want to sell off, either parts of it or the whole thing. If I'm coming in as an investor, the first thing I'm going to ask you is if your IP is protected and if you actually have a portfolio.
I see.
We see it all the time in my industry when people, and it's not just people buying creative businesses or whatever, even when banks are merging. When we're doing due diligence for some of these mergers and acquisitions, the IP aspect of it is so
Absolutely.
huge
It must
because
be, yeah.
banks are even a very good example. They always have one product or the
Yes,
other.
that
They have
is
a
their
product
own.
for the young
Yes,
people,
yes,
product
for
for the women,
SMEs.
women
Yes,
over 60,
yes,
women over this,
yes.
women over that. You want to make sure that every single one of those products have been duly registered. The names have been registered, the concepts, if you want to register them, have been registered, all of that. And there's something we call an IP valuation as well, which, there are companies that do this where they look at your entire portfolio and they actually put a number to it. That's going to help you in any negotiation.
Got it.
So, like I said, if a company is coming
is
to buy
so
your business in
interesting.
parts or in whole,
Yeah.
that's the first thing they're going to ask you.
Listen, I need to hire you. I'm
Do you know
just
what?
like,
Do you know
my
what I
head is
just thought
popping
about?
like boom, boom, boom,
Do you know,
boom,
I've
boom.
just thought about two things, two examples, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing we
I
talked
was going to
about.
actually ask you about your industry and when you create for your clients,
So
how do you handle that?
That's interesting because two things came to mind immediately. But in the beginning, when we talked about how we're creating like a platform for increasing people's capacity and
Yeah.
knowledge of things, it just occurred to me now that my job is, as like owning a branding agency, my job is also to educate my clients on what they need to do
Absolutely.
when they create creative assets.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Right? So I'm
Absolutely.
seeing
There should actually
synergies.
be
I'm seeing
an
synergies
added
everywhere. It should be a
service,
process.
a
It should just be
value-added
before we
service.
hand over your product.
We have protected this, this.
This is the lawyer that you need to talk
Yes.
to, XYZ. And there are two examples. So
That's so
earlier this
interesting.
year, my sister started a company called My Friend's House. And within
I had someone
within
copied it
3
like
months,
for like.
Yeah, we tried, but
Want
within it was
everything.
called like the person. It was called something like Friend's House, or I don't know. But then the colors,
everything.
If
everything.
you're the one that
Lilies.
copied that idea, I hope you're like, I'm
Shame on
side
you.
eyeing you. Really shame on
I'm
you.
sorry, I'm sorry
Yeah.
to
That
cut
is
you off,
so
but I actually
bad.
wanted to say something.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that IP theft is just as bad as
Actual theft.
being an arm robber.
Yeah.
And
To be
I think a lot
honest.
of people
Yeah.
don't realize that. And I'm so pleased to say that the Nigerian government has actually criminalized
IP theft.
IP theft, well,
Fantastic.
copyright theft.
Fantastic.
And there's actually a jail term
Yes.
associated. So please carry on stealing.
Yes, she
Make
looked
my job
she looked you dead in the
easier.
eye when she
That is
said that.
so bad.
And so
So
we,
my
we,
friend's
we, we
house.
cried. We called Kike, or we called her law firm, and we were like, oh, what do we do? But then it just reminded me that when you are handling services for small businesses, like so for me, I'm designing logos and creative assets and everything, there should absolutely be some education. And I should
Yeah.
say to them that, look, this thing that we have worked on collaboratively and we've produced such a fantastic end product, go and trademark it or go and copyright
Yes.
it. Ziva is another example.
Yes.
My clients also. Imagine me opening Instagram one day and seeing that somebody had just taken the
The
logo,
logo and created something.
imagine if there was an opportunity there. All those years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I could have said to her, let's trademark this. Let's make sure that this is your intellectual property, but it is recognized under the law. Because, and let me ask you, this is another question I've always had.
So
Even if you trademark it, right? Doesn't mean that somebody won't steal it.
yes, it does.
What does it mean?
Exactly. So the whole purpose of trademarking is not, is to prevent third party unauthorized use.
Yes.
But it's also to enforce that right. So that's another issue a lot of people forget. They're like, okay, I'll go and register. But when you now have an issue that is presented, you actually have to enforce that right. Otherwise, you've just wasted money and you've
Absolutely.
stressed
Now you're
yourself
not
for no
enforcing
reason.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of people are discouraged, by that enforcement bit because it can be very arduous, it can be very stressful, and it can also be very expensive. But the truth is, again, if you value your business, you have to fight for it.
Yes, but okay. I like where we are here. I want to fight for my business, but I'm also fighting to keep that business afloat. And I'm fighting for my own sanity. Which fight should I focus on in these three fights? And I think that's where a lot of business owners get
Yeah.
to, why things like this become low hanging fruit. I'll speak for myself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in a very demanding industry. I have too many staff. I live in a country that is highly unregulated. Like, I become everything to everybody. So, yes, I want to tidy up my intellectual property, but it becomes the lowest hanging fruit. When someone copies me, I have no choice but to just chest it and swallow it. And it's painful. But how do I manage all these moving parts and still pay attention to what is important? Is that by hiring somebody or is that by just doing it? Like, how? Like, help me.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think it's important to just figure out what is important to you and what is crucial to you. There are aspects of your business which can be copied, but maybe in the grand scheme of things, you're thinking, okay, maybe they copied our entire menu, for example. Let's use the restaurant as an
Yeah.
example. Let's say they copied the menu, they copied the recipe, they copied this, they copied that. You might think, okay, hanging fruit. I might not really have to. However, if they copy the entire brand name,
Got it. Okay. I think
then
I
that's
understand.
something you're going to want to
So
fight.
it's
So
your
Yeah.
priority.
it's
What's
a
priority?
you
Which
have
is,
to kind of weigh it up. I can use Ziva as another example. Um, and this is also another thing that's important, especially when you're starting a business, when you're thinking of names. Most of us just do a quick search
domain search
online
and that's it.
just to check that the name is even available. Oh, okay, there's no other name like this. That's fine. I can go ahead and register. But what we also forget to do is to check at the trademarks registry sometimes. So yeah, even though there's no other name like Ziva, for example, there are products that have maybe a portion of the name.
Yeah.
It can be called Diva or Diza or
Yeah.
whatever. And that now makes it more difficult for Ziva to want to register because the thing with trademarks is it's the first to file. So I can come up with a name KIKE Limited. You also come up with a name KIKE Enterprises, but you've registered it first. I might have been in business for 10 years, but you registered it
And I've
first.
lost that name.
So I would lose the name
Yeah. Yeah.
because I haven't registered it on time.
Yeah.
So thankfully, we were able to get ahead of that with Ziva and we were able to sort of nip it in the bud. But with that kind of business where the logo is such a crucial part.
Important. I
It's
mean,
on
it's
the
a
print,
print.
it's on
Yes.
the,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
everywhere. So that's something that, was very important to the business owner
That
from the
actually
beginning.
happened to us. There was a restaurant in Abuja that actually came up with their name called the House Abuja. I was so mad, but at the time I hadn't trademark, I hadn't done anything. My only cheeky retro what's the word? Cheeky response. I bought all the domains and the names, so they
Yeah.
couldn't open
Also
an
very smart.
IG.
Very,
Very,
very
very
smart.
They
important.
couldn't
That's
open
what
IG,
we.
couldn't
Yeah.
open a website. Like I blocked it everywhere.
That's
So
also
the
very
only way you're
important.
going to use that name is in the little corner of Abuja where they are.
So it's interesting when you say you bought up all the domain names because what we do when we start working with the clients, sometimes when we do have a large like proportion of clients who come to us with like they don't even have a name, right? So they want us to come up with a name, which is arguably a very difficult task to do because you're
Very.
asking them what motivates you, what is the inspiration, why, where, blah blah
Do you have
blah.
a questionnaire for that?
I do. It is
You
so
I
detailed.
was
I
going to
can
say,
And
imagine. That's the
sometimes
only
when you're
way.
and the client is like, why am I answering 30 questions? I'm like, because you need a unique name.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I know that it is important to have something unique.
Yes.
Then after they finally agree on a name, we buy all the domains.
Love that.
.ng, .com,
Yep.
.co.uk,
Yep.
slash
That's
this,
what I
slash
do.
that.
Yes.
So that means inherently, I know and the client knows that something is important and valuable.
But we
Exactly.
didn't label it.
But to go that extra mile to like trademark it or register it, we don't do.
It's so
We
important.
need
It's
to.
We need to.
We need
And
to.
yes, there are there are options for unregistered trademarks.
Okay.
You can actually
going to-
protect, you can enforce,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a lot more difficult.
Of course.
What about a very small business? I have this young girl. You all know Myra Champ. Great business. Like she was a dental nurse. Started her bag brand. It's doing very well. Every design this girl brings out in literally in
Somebody
four
has copied
seconds,
it.
similar to Dialab,
Yeah.
because they think it's easy. They just
Yeah.
go there, buy beads,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
copy the designs. So the next stage was for me to say, okay, Aisha, maybe you need to show the world how you get to those designs, like draw them, show your IP in public. And she started doing that, and they copied. Now she's slowly getting ahead of it, but through creativity and marketing. In speaking, in being here today, I now realize she needs to do a bit of work on the legal side
Yeah,
of
she
things.
does.
Now, this is a girl who is a one-man business. She's still trying to regulate herself. She only just recently started tackling her taxes. How is she supposed to navigate something that feels big,
Big.
expensive,
Yeah,
and just
expensive.
out of her realm at this stage of her business?
So I don't think there's a right or wrong or direct answer to that.
Fair.
I just feel like anything worth protecting is worth investing in. It sounds big, but you have to start from somewhere. One of the other types of intellectual property that I think benefits our colleagues in the fashion industry, because I should say this, the fashion industry is one industry that not just Nigeria, the world is struggling to regulate. I mean,
Yeah, of
think
course.
about it.
I
Zara
can
puts
imagine.
out,
Zara is
they're
a
the
know.
biggest
Fashion Nova.
copycats.
Yes.
Fashion Nova is not even as
No,
bad as
Zara
Zara.
Oh yeah,
is
no, but
the
you know,
queen
but you
of
know, but you know,
Zara goes for the
but you know
luxury
what
brands.
Zara does is they make us forget through a very very like strategic mix of
Absolutely.
That they are
marketing
copying.
They're
and
very smart
positioning.
about it.
Yes,
Very clever
yes,
about
yeah.
it. So it's an issue that the world is
Is going through,
facing,
of
and
course.
I don't want to turn this into a lecture.
Yeah.
But it's the intellectual property rights that we have available now are not adequate for the fashion industry. They are available,
We're still on a journey.
but it's still, and we're still, it's a soapbox that I'm really on, and I've been on.
And
The
understood,
fashion law
understandably
thing
why.
has been
Yeah.
Yeah,
something
that's
that I've
your
been
Understandably
Sue
why.
fighting.
loves.
Yeah, I've been fighting for fashion law rights for the last, I don't even know, maybe I want to say 10 years.
Amazing.
And it's really something that we're pushing, but it's still growing.
I love this.
Now, for someone like her, she's a small business. She's still sort of trying to navigate her way around things. She just has to start somewhere.
Okay.
So there's a design right that she can actually, pursue to protect the shape of her bags, the design of the bags, the entire aesthetic of the bag. It might not necessarily prevent someone from
Copying.
copying it, but she has the right anyway. So if she chooses in 2 years that, you know what, I have time and money
I'm
to,
going
to
to all of
chase
you
you,
stop it.
then I can do it.
I like okay.
You know?
See, I like what you just said,
So
and I
it's,
think we need to reinforce what you just said
me
Yeah.
help,
because when
Timmy,
when
help.
we had there was a lot of discourse around the whole Ziva thing. Like
Yeah.
I think I was just gisting with Demi or something,
Yeah.
and we were talking about it. And Demi was like, to be honest, even if I did do this, I would then, as a small business, not have enough money to pursue it in court.
Yeah.
I would not have enough money to, even the marketing that is required to kind of bring it back home to talk about how my fabric is superior, my craftsmanship, blah, blah, blah. Not every small business has that. But you just said something very important where you said that in 2 years, when she does have the money to do that, she then is protected legally.
Exactly.
And it's not like
Yes.
you're starting
So
from
what-
scratch at that
At
time.
that
Yeah,
time, yes.
what I've gotten from this is, once again, and it's a consistent theme around everyone who sits there, the journey.
Yeah.
The journey.
Yeah.
Everyone says just
Just start.
start.
Just start.
No matter how
Yeah.
small, just
Yeah,
start.
just
And
start.
I'm really, really happy to hear this, because I'm also walking away from the message today and saying, Toby, just
Yeah,
start.
absolutely.
And and I'm someone who, just by the sheer virtue of how much I love partnerships as well, I want to ask, how does partnership collaborations also get affected by IP? Because I've seen a lot of partnerships start and fail. I've seen a lot of people who want to go into partnership together, and I'm thinking, I don't think you should. Not because I know why, but from a layman's terms, I just think there's a compatibility issue
Yeah.
from an ideation, from a operational,
Yeah.
from an execution perspective. So how are you guys protecting yourself?
So, one thing that has to run through any partnership, any collaboration, you have to have an agreement, you have to have something in writing. I think people underestimate this. A lot of us collaborate and we kind of work on things on a gentleman's agreement. And we're like, this person is my guy.
Can't explain how
It won't
badly
be an
that has burnt.
issue. It
I
always
never do.
backfires.
Always.
It always backfires. It might
Really?
not
Has it always
backfire today.
backfired?
Always.
It won't backfire today.
It will one
But the
day.
day to backfire is coming.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
like
it
that.
destroy
Friendships.
friendships,
Families.
families.
Really?
Yeah, it's a real issue. And I mean, IPA, I would even say, is even a small part
In
of
this
some of
kind
those agreements. Because, okay, look, if you're coming together and you're working on something, it doesn't necessarily have to be a creative thing. You're collaborating full stop. It's a meeting of the minds. So it's a meeting of the product of the minds, right? So again, it's a meeting of intellectual
IP.
property.
Yeah.
Now we have to sit down and have some tough conversations.
Yeah.
Okay, how much did you come up
Bring,
with?
yes.
It's not even
Contribute.
about money now.
Contribute.
We're
Like,
not even
did you come
talking
up with the
about
name of the
finances.
business?
Did you come up with the name? Did you come up with the concept?
Yes.
Or am I just, because there are all kinds of partnerships.
Yeah,
That
of
is
course.
I
so
could be the creative
interesting.
person
Yeah.
behind the business, and you could be the financier. You could be the one bringing the money.
Or the technical person. Yeah.
So you tell me, okay, you take
This is what I
20%
want,
of
this
the
is what I
IP, me,
want.
I can take 80%. You have to sit down and have those tough
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah.
People don't want to have
Have
these
you guys
conversations.
handled your partnerships if you're in any?
I don't partner with anybody.
Why is that?
It has just never worked out well for me.
Mm.
Obviously, I work in a law firm where I am a partner.
Yeah.
But this is a firm that was established when I was 2.
Yeah.
So honestly, I really just work. I'm just fitting into
Yeah.
an already
Yeah.
established
they did it.
system. But they did. But guess what? The interesting thing about my firm, the founding partners, they always tell the story that they didn't have a partnership agreement until maybe just 10 years ago.
Yes. So it does work, and that's why I wanted
It
to
works.
highlight.
But guess what? The reason why they now discovered that they needed a partnership agreement was because they were now introducing, it was now bigger than the
Of
four.
course.
Yeah.
So they were bringing in younger people. And this our generation, we're not okay.
What's my own?
This
What's
was
your own?
so they were like, okay.
Let's
I think
know,
now we
yeah.
need to. But even they emphasize the importance of.
Yep.
But then you also have to know who you're going into business
partnership
with.
with. Yes.
You know, Toby
How
says
has
all
it-
the time.
how
Toby
has it
says
played
all
out
the
for
time.
you?
Toby says all the time that she loves partners. Like Toby loves to partner with people, and I think
The right ones.
yes.
The
So
right
I was
ones.
about
But I
to
also
say
don't like people.
I was about to say that Toby is a strategic partner, right? So she will identify. This is my key takeaway. Tell me if I'm wrong, but you will identify strengths in people that are critical to the strategic growth of what it is that you want to do. So
Right.
like, this is my only partnership in business.
Do
Toby
you
and
guam
I.
have an agreement? Am I
No, ask us.
Am I causing a little?
We
a
don't.
little,
But
am I
guess
throwing
what?
a little
Yes,
tension?
We
but
don't
we will.
yet. But you know what? Let me tell you.
think
Let me
you
say
need
something.
one.
When Toby approached me and
I'm very
said she
intentional.
wanted to do this podcast, I was like, I don't like partners. I don't like because I don't like people either. I mean,
Yeah, that's
I'm
so
just
interesting
very
because you're both not people.
No.
people. Yeah, but
Yeah.
we like each other.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, but then and then Toby called me last week or the week before and said we need to have a conversation about ownership. Like she literally called me and she was like, we've entered into a place where we need to talk about
Yes.
these things realistically because this is a business.
Yes.
Toby and I treat this podcast like a business. For anybody watching this podcast,
And that's why
think we're gisting.
So for
It's a
us, the
business.
reason why what we did in the beginning was I made sure we did a personality test. And because it was going to be 50-50, I wasn't too worried about an agreement in the beginning. I thought what was important for us was to
compatibility.
go through it and see if it will work. So that if it doesn't work, everybody just
Go your separate
Go your
ways.
walks
separate
away,
ways
does
and no
nothing,
issues,
and go.
no hard
But if
feelings.
it's working, then we would put the agreement. But I also felt like we couldn't put an agreement in place until we got to know each other a bit more. Whatever agreement we put in place then, we would hate it now because we've both grown differently.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
because I was more out there, loud and stuff, and Tammy was still like filling it out. So I felt like I had to wait a little bit, and then now where she is, she now has to wait for me, sort of thing. But we're at such imbalanced positions. It was just important for us to journey.
kind of level
But the
it up.
thing I did in the beginning, I made sure was that personality test and making sure it was 50-50.
Yeah.
So everybody went into it a bit comfortably.
Yeah.
But now, like she said, I still had a conversation that it's time. So
Because
with
anything
me,
can happen
I don't play with that.
tomorrow.
Like I
Yeah.
don't. While I like partnerships, I do it because of vision.
Right.
Because I have identified that this thing, I will not be able to take it past 5 years.
By myself.
With this person, I can take it to 10 years.
Absolutely.
So I didn't look for that person, but I do a personality test first, and we have to be friends for a bit and just playfully
See how you work
see
together.
how it, then I put a pin in it,
Yeah.
and then it becomes. But I don't do friendship in partnerships.
Yeah.
I don't. If we cannot have frank, tough conversations, we will struggle. And I'm horrible to work with if you're not clear.
Yeah.
You won't even like it because everything with me is black. Everything. Ask me, we're thinking like this. We're coughing. Documents.
No, it's good. It's good. I think even if it's just a one pager,
Yeah.
because anything can
Exactly.
happen tomorrow, and I don't even necessarily mean you'll go your separate ways tomorrow, but
Yeah.
someone could approach you guys. An investor could approach
Exactly.
you
I tell you, we
guys.
have
Very
so
important, yeah.
many like agreements, sort of like interesting
Yes.
agreement.
Yeah.
Even down
Yes.
to the name, we did it together.
Yeah.
She
So
had a
it's-
name,
it's-
I had a
it's-
name. I said, let's create it together. So it's Toby and Tammy. If
Exactly.
anybody wants to leave, scatter the whole thing.
Exactly.
And start a new
Exactly.
one. So that's my policy with
a good plan.
partnership. Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's one of the reasons why people don't like partners like you and I, for example, is probably because of the intricacies and the potential disasters that could come
Yep.
about. Because I have seen so many friends end partnerships in just a very contentious way,
Yes.
and it's like it has ruined the friendship. It has done this. It has done that. So the very deliberate process that we went through has helped us. Because it's not to say that there aren't there's
We
a
fight,
friction.
so.
I said there is a friction. She said we fight, but
No, but that's good.
It's not to
I
say-
I think it's
Yeah.
good because if you don't argue about the
address
important
them,
things
yes,
and address
yes,
them, then
yes. So it's
what are
good,
you
but
really doing?
I like this conversation because there's so
love
many people out
it.
there
Yeah.
who are like, I think I can go further with somebody, but I'm afraid to even take that first step.
Yes.
And I think this is going to kind of encourage you to really that personality.
People call me and
personality
ask
test.
about us a lot.
That what? Are we friends?
They're like, yeah, like,
like
how
each
are
other?
we making it work? Because they're struggling with this, they're struggling with that, and I will always
Frank
tell them like
conversations.
frank conversations, personality tests.
Yeah, personality
And
test.
for me, it's so strange, but I also treat my partners as if we're in a relationship. So the same level of grace I afford my personal relationship when you do something I don't like,
Yeah.
that's irritating. I actually bring a bit of that energy to the
Yeah,
workplace
yeah,
because I
yeah.
think it offers us grace, tolerance, and will
Yeah.
to keep going
Yeah.
at it because especially if it's someone you like working with,
Yeah.
you will have issues. Even your
Absolutely.
staff.
Absolutely.
Like, so
Even spouses that are partners, business partners.
Ooh.
I've met there's a couple I know that run a fashion brand together, and I was just asking her the other day, and I was like, truly, I don't know how you're going to separate church and state because I don't know if I could enter
say
business.
church and state.
Enter business with my husband.
Yeah.
There's already a lot
Yeah.
that we're talking about daily.
Yeah.
You now
you
want
don't,
to
you don't want to add this one.
excuse.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this question. Two things. One, I was listening to Toby and I was thinking, a lot of people really do relate or connect intellectual property to tangible things. Like I've created a bag or I've created.
Yes.
What would you say intellectual property means to people in a service-based industry, right? Something that is very intangible. That's number one. Then number two, if you have time, you can talk to us about actual lovers or family members or best
I would
friends or
love
things
to.
like that go into partnership. Is there a soft side to advising them? Okay,
Don't do it.
please.
Please
So those
don't
are the
do it.
questions
Don't-
I have for you.
So in
If
the
you're married to him, sure. or
yeah,
her, but
honestly,
if you're
but
dating,
if
I
you're
really don't think it's a
dating,
good
please,
idea.
I
don't
beg
do
you.
it. Even marriage as well, don't do it.
Just
idea.
run away.
It works
from
for some.
It works for some, and the
But-
people it works for, honestly, God, more power,
More power to you.
But I have also seen disasters. I've seen disasters.
Don't do it. I do
It's
it.
not- it
and
wouldn't
I
be
advise
the-
don't do it.
What do you do?
That's so
Yes.
funny. As she was saying, don't do it,
Actually-
I was
That's
like,
true. I
wait
was
a
thinking
minute.
about it. I was like, wait.
Passionately and
Wait a minute.
vehemently telling you. Listen to me. I'm passionately and vehemently telling you.
Looking in
don't
the camera
go
too.
into business with your friend, your lover, even your husband, think twice. Don't do it. I do it because I can, but I'm different. But don't do it. It never goes well.
Yeah, hardly ever goes
Hardly
well.
ever.
Hardly ever goes well.
If you do it, the onus is on you to make it work if you do it. So in my partnerships, I take on the work and the load of saying, I have chosen to do this, so it must
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do it, then the onus is on you to make it work. And that is a very tough onus.
Please carry on.
Okay, so to answer your first question about the service-based industry, I think I can explain that with examples. So I work with a close friend of mine who runs an events management company, for example. She realized that this was even after she had been shown small
Okay.
shege in the industry. She would come up with, a concept. So a client would approach her. I say, oh, I want to do this. I have this birthday party, blah, blah, blah. She'll come up with the design, the theme, everything. Really spend time on a 20-page
holding my breath.
document. And then submit the proposal, everything. And then the client would come back and say, sorry, I would like to go with another vendor. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all your assistance. Thank you so much.
Kike, don't say what I think you're about to
Then
say.
they will now
With my
carry
concept.
that
Yes.
very concept
Eh?
and
Yes.
give another event planner who will execute it
Poorly.
exactly.
Let me say
Lee.
HITTILY.
Precisely. And then you have my poor friend there. You have my poor friend there saying, how
far
could
now?
this happen?
How could
You
it
know,
In
be
my
seeing your
very before,
colours,
you'll be seeing
the
your
pastel,
entire
everything.
concept.
Like
But
imagine
just
you said
poorly.
rainbow and you're like, that's my rainbow,
That's
right?
my rainbow. This is my, and this thing had happened once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. She just called me. She said, Kike,
I can't do this
am I
anymore.
going crazy or is this happening and how can I protect myself? So what she started doing after that, first of all, she would charge a consultation fee.
Standard.
Always.
Yes,
First of
Let's
all.
even start there, so that
yeah.
even if you decide not to go
No
with it,
problem,
that's
I got
fine.
something
But I
from
haven't
it.
done this
God
for
bless you.
free.
And then
God
reduce
bless you.
what she shared.
Then she started including a line.
Watermark.
Not even just the watermark, because watermark now, nobody respects
still
that
your eye
anymore.
that you still
They
see
still
things.
use
Exactly.
what's inside watermark. It's very easy. You can use Canva to remove watermark.
Exactly.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, you can.
You can.
If
You can
if
even
they're-
use AI.
You can use anything
Yeah,
to
you can
remove
use-
anything now.
yeah. And to be honest, if it's a concept with the watermark, you're still reading it now.
They're still
Shouldn't you
reading it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. People.
But
humans.
human beings are terrible people.
Do you see why I said I don't like human beings? I like humanity.
She actually started, that's a very good one.
Yeah.
She actually started including a line there saying, this is protected by intellectual property. Any copy of this, blah, 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 will be
So
prosecuted,
it
blah, blah.
deters
It
you.
deterred
I love that.
a lot
It
of
curbs.
people.
Yes.
It deterred a lot of
I
people.
So
love
that's what you
that.
mean. Start the journey. Use the journey to deter people. When you have their time, sit down and collect your things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And guess what now? There's a little one-page agreement that goes with your concept.
Consultation as
If
well.
you send this concept to anyone else, any third party, I'm coming after you.
I love it.
And it's actually automatically stopped.
Love it.
The same thing with an architect friend of mine as well. The same exact problem. He would do the designs, do everything, and then realize that, then they'll come back and say, oh, we don't want to, we found someone that can do it for cheaper. And then he was just driving past one day and said, but this is my design. And it's always,
you will know your design
you would
because
know
it came
your
from
design.
your head.
And the thing in Nigeria now, you see the sign with the name of the architect, the name of the construction company. So you're like, these are the people I pitched an idea to. So we had to start doing the same thing. Luckily, his designs are actually also protected. The same thing with the concept
Fantastic.
by copyright and all of that. He even now started taking the next step of going to register at the copyrights office as well, copyrights
often as
commission.
possible.
If it's like a
So
big
he's building
client,
his
a big design.
portfolio.
Exactly.
The portfolio.
Can I ask you a personal?
Yeah.
Oh well, not personal question, but like
Yeah.
a question that is personal, that is
Can I ask my
relevant to
personal
me.
question?
So, as you were talking, I was like, okay, in our own business now, like we're sending a design or a concept to a
Yes.
client, and what we do is we typically do a consultation, which has a fee. Then we will do like a proposal, which has an outline of what we're going to execute. that thing of I can find something to do it for cheaper is just my lifeblood. I hear it like every day. It's fine, whatever. People always like, hey, it's so expensive. I said, okay, fine.
You
Good
can
luck as you
also
go.
go
Exactly.
there.
I'm like, God bless
That's
you as you
okay.
go.
Yeah.
But then you also said that you can't copyright an idea. So let me ask you this. Let's say I say to a client that, and it's tricky because there's the payment, there's the proposal aspect which tells you a little bit. Then after you pay, we flesh it out. But I've had issues with some people who have generally taken that proposal and given it to somebody else to execute, because then later on you just see them on Instagram with a concept you came up with. But like you said, it's a concept, it's an idea.
Yes, but you've written it down in your proposal.
Yes. So it's
Okay.
copyrighted already.
Your proposal is a tangible document.
But then they will tweak one small thing.
They can tweak one small thing, but the major. Let me give you a practical example. If I write a book, automatic copyright, when you see that C with that
Yeah,
circle
yes,
with the
yes,
C
yes,
in the
yes.
middle, Toby writes a book, essentially copying mine. If we end up in court, do you know what the test is? They just look at everything side by side.
Okay.
They look at it side by side. It's actually a
whoever wrote it
side by
first on the
side
date.
test. They look at the dates, and if the judge or if the court finds that
You were
upon
first.
review of this side by side, you've actually dubbed. Do they still say
Something.
dub?
Yeah.
You've dubbed 90% of this book.
Yeah.
Then you're going to be found guilty of copyright infringement. So sometimes it's a majority game as well.
So it's like 90% is similar.
Yeah, it's like plagiarism.
It is
Yeah,
plagiarism.
yeah.
So
Like
that's
They go
even
to
the
jail.
test.
They go to jail.
They can go to jail.
They
Like
go to jail.
the
If
new
you copy,
Copyright
yeah.
Act
if you copy
criminalizes
somebody,
Yeah,
it.
hearing.
So
go to jail.
artists that are stealing songs that are
beats
you will
and
do
stuff like
jail.
that,
Oh.
right?
The funny thing is, whatever you I can't find another word. So whatever you guys are doing in the music and entertainment industry, honestly, is working.
Yeah.
It's such a big difference now to
Yes,
before.
it is
And
better
that's what I
now.
It
mean
is
by
better.
it is working.
it's
Like
better now.
artists are not as they all seem slightly happier as well. They seem like they're all
Yeah.
getting into
Freer.
a clearer
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
Well,
different.
I
It's
mean, I
just
can say
something.
this, just to kind of bring your point home, because of the advancements in technology as well. We're not buying CDs anymore. I mean, back in the day, it was so much
So
easier.
you're able to protect their
true.
IPs a bit more.
It's a bit
digital.
easier. It's still
Traceable?
difficult, but it's traceable because everything is online. You can. It's very difficult now to. I mean, yeah, some of these illegal downloading websites still exist, but it's not like it was back in the day where
Ah,
I was having a
Now we
conversation
pay
with.
subscriptions.
You have to pay
Actually, I don't pay
subscriptions.
subscriptions.
now.
Yeah.
Now I
Back in the
pay
day.
everything.
I pay
Yeah.
everything. I was having a
Everything.
conversation with one of the OGs in the entertainment industry, and we were remembering the days where we had to go and pay them in this Alaba market. Alaba market is
Oh my God, to like
basically like
dub copy of
Piracy
yes,
Central.
Yes.
But the artists would actually have to go and pay them and settle them.
Yes.
stop.
And guess what?
Sabo,
Alaba actually
Alaba,
helped
and
them.
Tedrosho markets.
Yeah,
Those three
those
markets.
three. But Alaba actually helped the artists of back then to push their music. If Alaba wasn't checking for your music, actually, that
Then
means your music was
so
rubbish.
was not.
So, but times have changed now.
Yeah.
Everything is digitally streamed and all of that. And I think now, because I mean, if you compare when I started doing entertainment law till now, we started with one client or maybe two. And even one of those clients, we almost had to beg him. He was a big star. But we almost had to beg him, okay, look, we'll even do it for free. Let's just help you. He was like, "Ugh, what do I want to do with this?" But guess what now?
He's appreciative. Of course.
Everybody
Needs
wants an
it.
entertainment
Yeah.
lawyer.
Yeah.
Everybody, because
love
they.
it.
That's what I mean. The industry
so
just
times
feels
have
a little
really
bit more-
changed.
Evolved, yeah.
They feel
Yeah.
supported as
Yeah.
well. A lot of
Yeah.
our big artists
Yeah.
are so much supported.
Oh,
unlike
yes,
before.
I
yes.
mean,
Yes.
Afrobeats to the world too. It
That
helps.
is-
It helps that the
Yes.
international
One
spotlight
final
is on us.
question, if you guys will permit me before we go. And I've been speaking from the perspective of someone who wants to learn. So someone who is going on a journey of content, someone who sees small businesses. I want to ask a question from an employer's perspective. So I hire a lot of people who work for me, and it's their job to ideate every single day alongside me. How does it work in the employment industry between employer and employee when you bring an idea to my business and it is then dispensed and executed, is that still your IP, or is that just us brainstorming and executing things as a team?
So the general principle is that any intellectual property that is created during the course of your employment belongs to your employer.
Got it.
That's the general principle, except otherwise stated in an agreement.
Got it.
So if you're hiring a graphics person, for example, ideally, everything they come up with for your business
Belongs to the
belongs
business.
to you.
Yeah.
Except maybe it's your sister or a close relative, and you're like, okay, I can give this, I can let you keep
Some
the
of
IP,
it.
or I can let you keep a portion of it. So unless it says otherwise in your agreement, in your employment agreement, it belongs to your employer.
Got it.
Yeah.
And for employees now in interviews, so when people do interviews and they submit proposals and stuff, I've noticed employers take those things and they think it belongs to them because the interview. I find that very scary. How does it work in that journey
I think
as well
there
when you
has to
submit a
be
proposal during an interview?
during an interview. So again, that is also a very tricky one, because technically the employer or the interviewee is not an employer, an employee rather.
Yeah.
So really, what rights do you have
To take
over
that
that?
idea.
And I think in those sort of situations, it's very important to make it clear to whoever is interviewing from the beginning.
Fair
So
enough.
I can give an example. We
Yeah.
represented a client who was running a short stories competition.
Okay.
And one of the things that the participants fought against was the fact that the company wanted to retain those stories and publish, even if they didn't select them as winners. And even we had to tell them, no,
No.
You can't do
that's
that.
not, even on a moral level, that's
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
because we do have something called moral rights in intellectual
Yeah,
property.
yeah.
Even on a moral level, it's just not acceptable. But if you make it clear to them from the beginning that, look, anything you're creating for this interview or creating for this competition
be
belongs
published.
to us.
Fair
We're going
enough.
to
And they
publish
agree.
it, and they agree, that's fine. But on the face of it, we always advise against things like that. It's just
So how
not.
we approach it. So when we're hiring, I would say creatives, so designers, we typically subject them to a test. Just a quick,
Yeah.
But we actually have like a little. I don't even know what to say. Sometimes when I say that, a lot of these agreements in our company,
But you're doing the
I
work.
downloaded it from one website that said,
Let's always double check.
But then, so we typically tell them that we will not. We actually tell them,
Yeah.
if you're gonna do like a little design, because we give you a brief and you decide, okay, this belongs. Like we're not gonna
use it. If we're not
And
hiring
for me,
you, why
that's
are
just
we
like
using it?
exactly.
Yeah, it's just
But yeah, right.
also
Though there will
common
be people
decency.
who may.
Yeah, there are people who may,
people
and
who may.
as long
do
as
it
they've
all the
made
time.
it
Or
clear.
yes, yeah.
Every time I've interviewed someone, I would always start by saying, just so you know, anything you share with me today will not be used
Yes,
outside
me
of this.
too.
And they're always like,
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so
Exactly.
much for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's happened
I
to
even
me
say
before.
to
And I'm
them
always
that they
like,
can add it to their portfolio. So, for example, you've done a test for me, I haven't hired you, put it on your portfolio.
Exactly.
It's still something that you can use.
I love that.
That's just about
And
being nice to people.
sorry, the quick thing I said about moral rights, it's
I
basically
love that,
just
the moral right.
it's basically the right to be attributed and the right to be credited for your work. So even if you say,
Is that what moral rights
yeah,
actually means?
that's actually what, yeah, it's in our copyright acts and everything. So it's basically the right to be credited for your work.
At
Some
the
people
very
waive it. At the very
least.
least, some people waive it. There's some agreements that require that you waive it. There's some that require that insist that it must be there. So if, just practical points, if you have someone who is interviewing or submitting a proposal, you want to retain it, at least give them their moral rights and say, okay, if I use it, I'll
Here's
credit
your
you for the work.
credits
I might not
for it.
hire you, but
That's
I'll credit
true.
you for the work.
Yeah.
So
true.
at least that way it's a win-win. The person might not mind
Yeah.
their work will be publicized. They
And-
didn't get the job, but
but they
the
get
work will be
credit.
publicized.
Do you know
Yeah.
what?
This has been
Honestly,
so good. Have you
informative.
enjoyed
I've
it?
actually enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
Do you know what my key takeaway from this
Tell
was?
me, please, because I've learned
Guys.
so much today.
And this is the thing. This like as a service provider, when I'm convincing small businesses to invest in their business, like you need a website.
Yeah.
You need a marketing strategy. You need to invest in this tool or this thing. You see, the same way you're investing in the tools that you need to do your business, you must invest in your intellectual property, because
should.
like Kike has told us, if you don't do it today, 5 years later, you're going to wish you did it 5 years ago. And it is such a big thing. I have recently had some engagements with WIPO, which is an organization I didn't even know
Yes,
existed,
so
because
well
like I said,
done.
thank you.
Amazing.
And they just keep drilling it home. If you don't do it today, you will regret it tomorrow. Because small businesses, by God's grace, you grow to a medium-sized business, to a large business. When you have all these people like Toby, like staff on your team, and different assets and products, like you are bringing out your sweet potato chips. Like there's so many things that are gonna be an offshoot from your core business. You're going to regret the fact that you didn't
Yeah.
trademark or register things
No,
in the
for
beginning.
sure.
So the same way you invest in tools, invest in intellectual property.
No, I love that. You said it all. That key takeaway for me being a business owner, there are a lot of things I have been doing, but I didn't know I was actually creating a
Right.
portfolio. What I've taken away from this is to be more structured on that journey and actually know that this is what I'm doing and key into that a bit more because you might think you're protecting yourself, but you've not covered the full
All the bases, yeah.
Yeah. And another thing I took away from this today is not to bury your head in the sand. So as a
Learn.
business owner as well, a lot of things we do is the things we don't understand, we shy away from it and we become ostriches about it. So what I took from this today is to stop shying away from the things that scare me or the things that I'm not fully confident or understand. Rather, go and find the information, figure out how I'm going to use it for myself, and then execute it slowly but surely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say that's what
Educate
I took
yourself.
from that.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
educate
much,
yourself.
Kike. It has
Thank you,
been
Kike.
Thank you
such
guys
a
so much for
dream
having
talking
me.
to you.
Yes.
I am going to go because I have also
Ah.
not registered or trademarked anything that
dear.
has to do with
Honestly,
TMA. Like
Of all
so that's
people?
I
no,
know, I
even
know.
me
I
as
mean,
well. I
because
have
the way I
so
was
much work
a
to
Voltron
do.
for Demi, I was like, oops, but myself, I haven't done
Yeah,
anything yet.
we
Like
live and learn,
we live and learn.
and a lot of us are entrepreneurs by sheer virtue of journeys and thinking what we have to do.
Yeah.
We're all learning.
Learning, yeah.
Being in a country like Nigeria makes you forget some of the important things you should be
Absolutely.
doing. So we'll all get there.
We will.
And that's the whole essence of this.
Guys,
Absolutely.
please don't forget to write to us with any questions you have about IP. I'm
Yep.
sure we can ask Kike to answer a few.
Yes.
Just, I hope you've taken away from this episode like we
Yes.
have. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And make sure you listen to all the episodes of season 3 because you're sure to take something away from it. Remember, collective prosperity.
We will talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.